Hello, hello, and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us this evening for the Cookout podcast, where we talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tonight you'll see it's just me and Sammy Joe. There'll be no Anika tonight. We are going to watch the second episode, Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. I guess Anika will watch it on her own, and we'll catch up next week with episode 3. We're not going to do a clown of the week this week, unless you have someone. We didn't really talk about it, but I don't have anyone. If you have someone that you want to talk about, that's fine. Um, if you don't, we'll just
No,
skip it. All right, so we'll just bypass clown of the week this week, and I guess we
I'll
can
do
just.
a shout out of the week, if that's
All
okay.
right, do that.
Shout out to the Vikings.
It's a wrestling show. You have to go do a shout out to the Vikings. That's funny. Yeah, I mean the Vikings look good. That's for
Mhm.
sure. The Vikings do look good. We'll see if here's the thing. Like I always thought Sam Darnold was going to be a good quarterback, and then he was always just a backup. And I do kind of believe that you kind of are what you are. And that doesn't mean that they couldn't win a Super Bowl with him. Teams have won Super Bowls with backup quarterbacks, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him come down to earth a little bit at some point. I mean, I
Hmm.
hope he doesn't for his sake. I mean, I like him, so for his sake, I mean, so. Okay, so as usual, just real quick, if you're here with us, we appreciate you choosing Workhorse Wrestling Network for all of your wrestling content. Like I said, we're getting ready to watch episode 2 of the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. I got my TV up and running, ready to go. I assume you are all set up as well. I've got Hulk
Of
and
course.
Andre face to face, kind of in the background of a grayed out screen at the moment.
Oh, well, you're ahead of me then. I'm at the
Oh,
Netflix logo.
yeah, yeah, I just got the end too. I don't know. Maybe that was. I'm not sure what that was, but all right. Now we're at the Netflix production. Hogan playing the guitar.
All right, I'm there.
All right. What the heck is this? I do not remember this at all. Vince, that's hysterical. Rock and roll Vince. I guess it's not really rock and roll. I'm not sure what that is. That's more like
I'm remembering
uh,
how like so many people hated on the musical number by MJF and Chris Jericho,
uh
but they haven't seen this.
I don't remember this at all. I love Hogan with the sleeveless tuxedo.
I am also reminded of the story of Hulk Hogan told that he was almost the guitarist for Metallica,
That's funny.
just
This is
for
episode
James Hetfield to
2.
say, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
That's hysterical. Huh? Meltzer. We're we're in the 80s still. We're talking about the success of WrestleMania 1, Hogan, Steamboat, Piper, Macho Man. Rest in peace,
I
Macho
mean,
Man.
if half of Hulk Hogan's stories were true, like that's like the life of like Forrest Gump. Just like,
Saturday night's
man,
main
you
event,
you you were just everywhere doing everything, huh?
right? Since we don't do the review until Saturday, I don't know if you watched NXT, but can I give a spoiler on here? Did you watch it?
I haven't seen it. No,
Do you want to know?
sure.
Tony D'Angelo beat Obafemi for the North American title.
I would assume Obafemi's going to be moving to the main roster before long. Then, I mean, he feels more ready than pretty much everybody else in the roster. So
right? I guess we didn't stay long enough on Bad Blood because I don't remember seeing KO attack Cody in the parking lot afterwards.
I
But
assume that
apparently that
happened in the
happened.
press conference after.
Yeah, I mean, it just said after Bad Blood. I don't know if that meant during the press conference or before the press conference. I guess maybe we didn't hang out long enough. I don't know.
To be fair, we're not doing watch-alongs at the press conference. Like
That's true.
we did it one time, and everybody was miserable.
They keep bouncing back and forth between the early days and current times, talking about wrestling and Bret Hart. Or I'm Bret Hart right now. Talking about injuries.
Yeah, if you were a wrestler in the '80s and you got hurt and you didn't wrestle, you didn't get paid.
Yep, that's what they're talking about. Yeah. Took me a second to gather what they were talking about. Wrestlers as a group were often exploited. And Bob Costas is talking now. No medical insurance protection, huh? Interesting. Oh, Jesse Ventura was trying to form a union. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that.
It's
That
the
might
reason he
explain
lost
why
his
he
job.
ultimately got blackballed, right? I was just gonna say that might
Hmm.
explain why he got fired and blackballed. That supposedly that's extremely illegal. Not that Vince cares about what anything that he does is illegal, but you're not allowed to fire your employees for discussing or even forming the union. Nice outfit, Jesse. Oh, look at those sideburns, bro. Sideburns are great. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. But they were in 3 different cities at WrestleMania 3. I remember now. I mean, I remember because I was obviously alive and watching and whatever, but I don't remember. I forgot about that.
And I think each one was 3 matches,
Or WrestleMania 2, sorry.
or maybe it was 2 matches per city, but I think it was
Yeah, I don't remember
three
what.
matches per
I
city.
don't remember how many there were per city. I just.
I mean, I think it's kind of a clever idea. If you got like
Yeah,
one on the East Coast, one in the Midwest, and then one on the West Coast.
right.
Like if you have like New York, Chicago, and LA, and it's an hour in each of those 3 cities, like I think that'd be a clever idea to do today.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more cost effective to just do one show and have it 3 hours long.
right. But you also get the opportunity to have it take place in 3 different cities with 3 different, at 3 different venues, sell tickets in 3 different places. They spread out, get, I don't know about more fans, but potentially, I mean,
I mean, you definitely sell more tickets.
I would assume so. I mean, if you're in 3 arenas that sit 17,000 as opposed to one, I mean, that does make a big difference. And I'm assuming because they're not dumb, And as always, as most wrestling does, they'd have some sort of dark matches before, so that you're not just there for the 2 or 3 matches actually during WrestleMania, but you get other stuff too, I'm sure. So, and it would give more people a chance to see it because I think they've done. I mean, I think I can count the amount of times they've done a West Coast WrestleMania on 2 hands. It's got to be less than 10 times over its 50 years. What are we at? 40, 45? What's the next WrestleMania? 50, 50 what? I don't think we're in somewhere.
I have no idea.
Last year was what? WrestleMania. I have to look and see. This year was 41 or something. I don't know. WrestleMania. WrestleMania 41. So we're 41 now. This year will be 42, I guess. This was the one where they had what 90,000, I believe. WrestleMania 3. There's a perfect example of what you were talking about in a football arena like that, like a college football arena.
Hmm.
Actually, that wasn't college. This was a Superdome, but or the Pontiac Silverdome. But
Like, there's fans like over 100 feet high up there in the rafters.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like if you're sitting up at the top, like everyone in the ring just has to look like ants.
Yeah, that's why you watch the jumbotron more than the actual ring, right? Because the jumbotron's more kind of almost at eye level, and you can actually see it.
You're basically going there just to say that you were there.
Yeah, Andre and Hogan. Andre's eyes, dude. You couldn't force him to do anything. He was a giant man. I don't know what document. Maybe it was the Andre document. I don't remember what it was. I've seen a couple of Andre documentaries and a couple other, stuff, just stuff about Andre. Maybe it was Dark Side of the Ring. Even I don't remember, but just the amount of alcohol that guy could consume was just insane. Now I know he's obviously ginormous, but still, I mean, just
Uh,
insane.
Apparently, it helped with the pain.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it probably did. Is this still the biggest crowd ever
I don't think so. No.
for a wrestling event? No.
I mean,
It
I can tell you what number one is.
what?
Collision in Korea.
Interesting.
Like it has like twice as many as the next.
Interesting. Very interesting because he always had the entertainment side down very well. Always a great promo. Always, good body language in the ring. Always sold well. His athletic ability wasn't all that great, and his moveset wasn't all that great. But the entertainment part, he was always solid.
Okay, I googled it. It is. Well, do you count night one and night two as different, or is it just the same thing?
I just count them as the same thing. Combine them even.
Oh, combine them. All right. Well, that
That'll
could
give you the
change this
total for the
list.
whole WrestleMania.
Well, as a single night event, not counting the events that are two nights,
Right,
like counting them individually, one, two, three, four,
right.
five. This is number six.
Okay.
WrestleMania 3 was the sixth highest. I can hear your TV.
Sorry. How about now?
Nope. Oh, yeah, yeah, I can. Now I can. It's a lot more confusing if you're doing it as the two nights count as one.
Right.
Like, I don't know where you'd go for those statistics
They don't have statistics for night one and night two.
separately, not together.
Right. All you got to do is do the math. If it's 19,000 on night one and 22,000 on night two, it's what is that? 38,000 total. Shouldn't be too hard to do the math.
All right.
It's not fair to compare one night. Not that I care, but it's not really fair to compare two nights to one night. Both the two nights have the advantage of having more combined, or the disadvantage of having less than one because there's two nights. So people be like, "Oh, I'm not going to Saturday because I know a matches are on Sunday. Sunday's going to be better, or vice versa." So it's
Yeah. But number one is Collision in Korea Day 2. Number two is Collision in Korea Day 1. Number three is WrestleMania 32.
what are those numbers?
Num
How many people were at Collision in Korea?
uh Day 1 or Day 2?
Either one.
Day 1, 150,000.
Wow,
Day 2, 165,000.
interesting, interesting.
And then WrestleMania 32 was 80,000.
Huh. I thought three was 91,000. No, it's not.
78.
I thought WrestleMania 3 was 91,000. Oh, it's 78. Okay. Interesting. So it's a little less than I thought it was.
Um, at number 4, you got Jim Londos versus Kola Quarinari. Quariani. That was in Athens, Greece in 1933. Had over 80,000 people.
Well, all right then.
And number 5, you got SummerSlam 1992 in Wembley Stadium. Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog. And then you got WrestleMania 3.
We're just further talking. This is just further talking about the 80s. Hogan's role, the success of the business they had coming off the WrestleManias, the first WrestleManias, Planet Hollywood.
I couldn't see a wrestling show ever beating Collision in Korea.
Yeah, yeah, that might be true. That's a lot of people. So
Like Day 2 doubles the third highest. Like,
right,
and Day 1 doubles almost every other wrestling show.
right.
talking about Hulk Hogan's failed acting career.
Right? Did I use the term failed? I didn't hear that. Or is that are you saying failed?
I said failed.
Okay. I mean, he definitely hasn't had the career of any of the most recent ones, i.e., Rock, Batista, or Cena. But I don't know if I would call it unsuccessful. I mean, he was in more than a handful of movies and probably made a decent amount of money. Now, I would say he might not have made a good movie. I don't know that he was ever in a good movie, but
I think the problem was is that he kept on wanting to be like a lead actor and not a supporting actor. Like the
yeah, I
best
mean, I think
movie
it
he ever did
depends.
was Rocky.
Yeah, right, true. I mean, I think it all depends on how you classify success. Hogan and Warrior. This is when Warrior takes the title from him. Warrior with the win. I love how Hogan kicked out right after the three. The hand went down and then Hogan kicked out. I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what he was supposed to do. It just it looks funny. Apparently, he was quite the actual character, Jim Hillwig, or Warrior, I guess, as he changed his name to ultimately.
Man, they tried so hard to do the next Hulk Hogan, the next Hulk
Oh yeah,
Hogan, and like
right.
they
And
finally found success where they were like, let's do something different, and they went with Bret Hart.
well, and you might, I mean, here's the thing, like, you might hate him, you might whatever you think about him, like, there isn't the next Hulk Hogan. He's one of a kind. I mean, there's a reason why he was so over at that time. Now, obviously, the whole WWE machine was behind him, but it still takes the right person, right? So, and he happened to be the right person. I mean, it all worked. It was the perfect storm. Thankfully, there isn't another Hulk Hogan. But yeah, no, I mean,
Sergeant Dishonorable Discharge.
WWE's been searching for the next Hulk Hogan since Hulk Hogan left. I would claim they're still searching for the next Hulk Hogan, i.e. Stone Cold, i.e. I mean, you're always looking for that, but I mean, Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan.
I mean, the guys that like reach the pinnacle like aren't one for one the same as people who came before.
Oh yeah, oh no doubt, 100%.
And I mean, every time a dude really reaches the pinnacle, it's because they have the company completely behind them and pushing them with everything they have.
No doubt. That doesn't mean
Like
that they don't deserve it, but it does help as well.
Cena, uh, Roman Reigns, like
Yeah.
as much as the fans might boo and jeer at them, like the company kept on pushing them and kept on pushing them.
And here's the thing, like it's like that Jim Gaffigan joke where he talks about, nobody eats at McDonald's, but they sell 1 billion burgers a year. Everybody hates John Cena, but he still sells millions of dollars worth of merch a year. It's like, so, I mean, let's be honest, obviously not everybody hates him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't
That was
sell,
Macaulay Culkin.
you're not still one of the top merch sellers for WWE when you don't even wrestle anymore. If people don't actually like you, like it might be a guilty, I don't care what it is, but you might lie about having the Cena shirt, but you got one.
Yeah. Oh, they had Donald Trump there too.
Right? Yep. I remember that.
Like it's crazy that Stone Cold is still like the highest merch seller.
Right.
Like after all these years. Like You would think that everybody would own one of his shirts by now.
Right? Hogan in the middle of the ring waving the flag after beating Sergeant Slaughter, who had turned his back on America. Well, steroids. Distributing muscle building steroids.
And
Uh,
this is where he got out of the lawsuit for saying, like, it doesn't matter because, like, we're not a real
we're not
sport.
right. We're not a real sport. Which maybe at the time, like it is what it is. But technically, even possessing, let alone selling, I guess you can't really not using, but possessing and selling anabolic steroids has been illegal for a fair amount of time. I mean,
Is it?
like, yeah, even for just you or me, it absolutely is. You can get them, but it's illegal.
Well, I was unaware of that.
It's definitely illegal to distribute them, especially without being a doc. Like a doctor could potentially give you an anabolic steroid or something to the a similar effect, for like medical treatment and stuff. But definitely can't distribute it without a prescription. Everyone can get in trouble for selling it without a prescription.
Well, yeah, I googled it. Yeah, illegal to use or distribute them uh, without a prescription from a
Yeah,
doctor.
exactly. So like you can be like, we're not a sport, but you're still not just allowed to have rampant widespread use of steroids and selling them. You're still can get in trouble. I suppose if all your wrestlers had prescriptions, then in theory that's one thing. But like,
Well, all you got to do is find a doctor that's willing to.
and that's what he's talking about right here. He said, but it was illegal
Mhm.
to prescribe them just to sell. So you got a doctor that. Oh, he said they were. So Pritchard says early on they were legal, then they became illegal during the Reagan era when they were just in the just say no to drugs.
But it's still illegal to this day.
Yeah, it is. George Zahorian, huh? Sent him to jail for selling the steroids.
And like it's still a big thing today of athletes getting busted for
Busted for, oh yeah,
steroid use.
for sure. I mean, it's been a while now, but that's still the reason why the Mark McGuires, the Sammy Sosa's, the Barry Bonds are not in the Hall of Fame. The Jose Canseco's are not in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they're talking about bodybuilders right now, and yeah, that's a big thing with bodybuilders is natural versus non-natural. And another thing with
Right,
bodybuilders is like if you're not natural, it's cool. Like we respect that too, but like there's a difference between the two. And to not be natural and claim you're natural, that makes you a piece of shit.
sure, 100%.
It's like if you're not natural, that's cool. Like there's plenty of dudes who do that, and like
Right,
no one really cares. It's when you
right,
lie that then people
sure,
care.
right. You're kidding. I took steroids, not anymore. Vince says, "You're kidding." First of all, wow, I don't necessarily believe that you're not anymore, but we all knew you were. So don't no one ever doubted that you were using steroids. Vince. Think anybody ever doubted that all these guys were using steroids?
You need to turn that down.
I'm muting myself real quick.
Okay.
Hogan said, "I've only been in jail. I only used steroids 3 times," and everyone else said, "I've injected Hogan myself multiple times." Not like 5 people are like, "I've injected Hogan myself at least more than once." It's like, all right. One person saying it, you can be like, "Oh, that dude's got an axe to grind, fuck him." But like 5 people, yeah, it's a little hard to spin that one.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that we're too dumb, that the fans, people, whatever, are too stupid to know that you're on steroids. Like, dude, we can see like that body's not normal. Sorry.
You know, I don't know if people are getting smarter or if people are getting dumber.
In what
Because,
regard?
like,
Just with steroids, or
well, like, did people really not think that he did steroids?
right?
Because, like, anybody now would, like, oh, of course.
Of course, no doubt.
But also, people now, like, don't know anything about geography.
This is true. This is true. They're talking about pulling back the curtain in the world of pro wrestling, the violence and depravity, the the partying afterwards, the steroids. Apparently, lots of wrestling groupies. It sounds like doesn't sound like wrestlers have an issue getting women.
And
Jimmy
it, oh,
the
they're actually
killer,
going to talk about it. They're actually
the
going to
mur-
talk about it.
the murderer. Yep, 1983. Jimmy Snuka, the most popular wrestler in the company. Something happened in a hotel room in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You don't say. It's often dismissed as children's theater, but nothing could be further from the truth. WWE scandal on the news. Wrestling grapples with sex scandal. Feds target WWF for sex abuse. Boy sex scandal rocks wrestling. Sweet. Sweet.
I didn't even know about
So
this.
they're talking about how the ring boys were sexually harassed. Mel Phillips, who was a ring announcer, it appears, would sexually harass the guys that put the ring up and down. Sweet, dude. So I mean, not that not believe me, I had no belief in my head that any of the stuff that we heard about Vince in the last 5 years was ever all of it. But just to know the extent of it, that even in the in the early '80s, this was going on. In the mid '80s, it was already going on with other situations. Like, man, talking about Pat Patterson and being gay. Oh shit! He said he was propositioned by who? Terry Gordy? Is that what he said?
Garvin, I
He said
think.
Terry. Oh, Terry Garvin, to have sex with him and party with him, and when he was 16. Sweet. Fucking WWE,
Ooh,
right? WWE's face suits alleging sex abuse. Unbelievable. It was a pedophile ring. Three of these guys were in on it. Whoa, well, what a big surprise. Here we are 20, 35 years later, still dealing with the same shit with Vince McMahon. Holy smokes. I can't believe he was allowed to get away with it for as long as he has.
this is wild.
Right? And the funny thing is that it's all in newspapers, but yeah, I didn't even realize that. I mean,
I
I guess I didn't. I mean, I was young. Well, this is before you were born. So,
I
and I
mean,
was young. I mean,
CM has alluded to this with us before, but
right,
I didn't actually realize how bad this was.
right.
I can hear you, TV.
Bruce Richards said nothing can be substantiated. He doesn't believe anything about Pat Patterson abusing anybody. I mean, to be fair, Pat, now, obviously, everything I've ever seen about Pat has always been a WWE, whatever, but it's always shown Pat in a good light.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tony Atlas. He's funny. I love the tie with the sleeveless shirt. Oh, shit. I forgot tonight is AEW Title Tuesday. There's no Dynamite tomorrow. It's on tonight. Forgot about that. I keep getting these alerts from All Elite Wrestling about things that are happening, and I'm like, wait a second, why is it's Tuesday? What's going on?
I had completely forgotten myself.
Yeah. I wonder. I wonder what the list looks like. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm watching this documentary. We're now, 2 episodes in, or an episode and a half in. I guess this one's probably pretty close to being whatever. But it's been all 40 minutes so far. Um, Shit, I totally lost my train of thought. What the hell was I going to say? Well, I don't know. Totally lost my train of thought. Hopefully it'll come back to me. That was a total brain fade right there. Yep. There's Laura saying Title Tuesday AEW. Yep. Right now. I believe it's on right now, or maybe it might be over. I don't know. Maybe it was on from 8 to 10. I'm not sure. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
This is crazy.
Right? It would be interesting to see, to go back and look by decade and put together a list of all the different scandals that have happened throughout the decade, just to
We,
get a
we
picture of the enormity of it.
we might need to do a retro watch along of the Phil Donahue show for that episode.
Right? That was a crazy episode.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer sitting next to Vince
Right?
McMahon.
The first lady referee, Rita Marie. Okay. We need to watch a few of these. We need to watch this Geraldo episode too. The Phil episode with Dave and Vince, and then this one with the lady accusing Vince of some heinous things. Oh, oh, you're kidding me. Did he really just say that? He didn't just say that, right?
And
He
if it
said,
was,
if
the
it was
statute of
that,
limitations.
right? Holy smokes. Ah, man. I mean, I knew he was a class act, but wowzer. Wowzer, wowzer. That's not hearsay. He said it right there on camera. Like, whoa. All right, then. Sweet. It makes my literally, like, I'm feeling slightly sick to my stomach about the fact that I've been supporting this company and this man for like the better part of my life. Now, to be fair, in the scheme of things, I don't own one wrestling t-shirt. I don't own one piece of WWE merchandise. So in that regard, I'm fine. I've paid a lot for pay-per-views over the years. I'm not gonna lie. I paid a lot for Peacock since it's been on there. I paid for the network before, so I can't lie about that. But at least I don't have a whole bunch of merchandise stuff to on top of it to feel even worse about every time you put one on or something.
I have a lot of wrestling merch, but I only have two that's WWE.
Okay, well, that's a little
Unless
bit
you,
better.
unless you count the Funkos, I don't know if like WWE, like how that works out with them.
Right.
In which case, I have six. So I have four Funkos.
Okay.
Which for a wrestling fan is a small list for WWE merch. Oh shoot, I'm wrong. Seven. I have another one. So four Funkos, two shirts, and one pair of underwear. The underwear was a gift.
Now, listen, how many times can you just claim that everything's a witch hunt? Like, I mean, maybe one time, okay, that's one thing. Someone retracts a statement, whatever the case may be. There's no actual proof. It is what it is, whatever we know. But like the 10th time, the 50th time, the 100th time, it's like, come on. With his neck brace on, coming out of court. Oh, I guess he actually did have neck surgery. Okay. Well, I guess at least it makes it a little more.
But he definitely
Understandable.
scheduled that surgery to coincide.
Sure, to make himself look more sympathetic, right? A little bit. And wrestling bad guys wear those neck braces to make them. That's hysterical. And then they got Bobby Heenan wearing one. The cojones on that dude. On that guy. It's insane, dude. Oh, man.
Yeah, Hulk, I don't think those are vitamins.
Ah. Oh, man. And according to these headlines and everything on this documentary right now, WWE was in, or WWF was in dire straits at this point with all the legal stuff going on. And
Oh, is that Ted Turner?
yeah, now they're talking
Mm-hmm.
about Ted. 'Cause now we're moving into WCW territory now. World Championship Wrestling. Larry Zbyszko and Eric Biscotti. Some of these characters. Oh, the Stinger. Surfer Sting. I don't know if he was really a surfer, but that's what the crew cut and the
RoboCop.
pastel face paint. Bischoff is getting old. I assume he was probably already dying it during WWC days, but his hair is all gray silver now. Didn't you say your family was a WWC family?
Mm-hmm. WCW.
Yeah. What did I say?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but it wasn't WCW.
WCW is what I meant to say. So stupid bandanas, dude. Always. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, my father was an NWA fan, and
Right. Jack Briscoe, right.
after, yeah, and after that, then WCW.
Which I mean, WCW basically NWA at the time basically kind of became WCW. I mean, not yes and no. I mean, a lot of the
Hmm.
guys ended up there, not the South. Yep. Eric Bischoff talking about trying to get Hogan to join WCW.
I mean,
You told him to go off and do movies, and Vince said you're not going to compete, and he said absolutely not.
but like, what a deal that is, where you're working every day of the year, and then getting the offer of, oh, you can work twice a week, and you
Right,
get a couple of those weeks off.
right. I love it, dude. His defection to WCW. Like, as a talent, you don't, or a human being for that matter, let alone a celebrity or a talent, like you don't have the right to be able to decide where you want to go or what to do without being a traitor or you know what I mean? Like, because somebody else is around and wants to pay me more than you want to pay me and wants to give me booking that you don't want to give me at this point, I shouldn't take it. I'm a traitor because I take it. I'm a backstabber because I
That
take it. Like, give me a break,
that was a thing of like recent times.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Like there were people saying that like wrestlers were traitors for going to AEW.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's like, really? I mean, as long as you honor your contract and the non-compete or whatever you have to do and you do it the right way, I have no problem with any of it. I don't even have a problem a lot of times depending on, the circumstances, because I always side with the talent anyhow. If if the powers that be are, making your job, unpleasant, or they're not, they haven't met up held up their end of the bargain or whatever the case may be, then get out. I mean, but definitely, if, at least at minimum, if you've done everything right, run your contract time, and then waited for the no compete clause, however long that is, and you have every right to go to wherever you want to do, and that's not being a traitor. I mean,
Absolutely.
I, I mean, you know, fans are fans, and obviously, fan is root for fanatical, so it comes from. So I get it. Like, there are guys that have played for both, for multiple NFL teams, and depending on who you are, like, you might see them as a traitor. If you're a Niners fan or a Cowboys fan, I suppose you could perceive Terrell Owens, oh, well, more likely a Niners fan because he was there first, but you could perceive Terrell Owens as a traitor for going to um, the Cowboys later. Let's see, in 1994, Vince McMahon withdrew his defamation lawsuit against Rita Chatterton and Geraldo Rivera, sorry. In 2023, during a temporary lift of the statute of limitations for alleged victims of offenses in New York State, McMahon paid a multi-million dollar settlement to Chatterton. Interesting. So I'm assuming this episode is over because there's a final little summation of what they talked about overall today. It's amazing to me just how much scandal over the years WWE has actually endured. I mean, it feels like watching stuff like this, you can see like every decade there's something, whether it's steroids, whether it's whatever it is. I mean,
Absolutely wild. Like
Right? Yeah, that was a
boggles
good
the mind.
episode.
Like how
That
did
was a
I
good
not know about half of this stuff?
right? Yeah, I like this episode. I thought this episode I enjoyed this one a little bit more than the first one. I thought the first one was a little bit more kind of just get people warmed up and get you kind of the ball rolling, like, the kind of just kind of the history of how WWE came to be and all that kind of stuff, and then this one got a little bit more a little spicier. So
I thought this was gonna be like very like pro Vince, and it is not.
no, I mean, so far it definitely hasn't been what I would call pro Vince. I don't know that it's as scathing as it possibly could be, but that being said, it's definitely not been pro Vince. Um, you can tell this isn't something that he did, or that I mean, at least it doesn't. I mean, that he put together. This isn't whatever. So, yeah, I mean, they haven't really taken it easy on him. Again, I'm sure it could be even more whatever, but at the same time. No, like I said, I thought episode 2 was better than episode 1. They talked a lot about the scandals, the continuation of the '80s, and up into basically the beginning of WCW. Um, so I'm assuming I don't know, we'll continue on next week with whatever episode 3 has in store for us. So, anything else you want to say about this episode of the show before we
Um,
move on to the last thing we're going to do tonight?
no,
All right. Well, real
I'm
quick,
excited
we
for the
did.
next episode, and we'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, they've done a good job on this. The whole time, I feel like I've been ready to push the next button and watch the next episode. And like Anika says, that
Hmm.
tells you that it's good. So, no, I mean, I've enjoyed it. I mean, to be fair, I thought episode 1, I thought, okay, I know a lot of this stuff. I hope it gets. There was a lot of stuff in episode 2 that I didn't know about. Even a lot of the stuff that was in the headlines. I guess I was young at the time. I mean, that was in the mid '80s, and I mean, I was only 10 or so. So, you weren't even born yet, and so and I was young, and so I guess that's part of it. But like, it's just interesting how much I guess I was unaware of that stuff even at that time. Just like I said, how much scandal has just surround WWE over the years, just in general. It's insane. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what episode 3 and the remaining episodes have to offer. So, make sure and tune in to the Cookout next week for episode 3. In the meantime, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, we are going to do a quick little review of Bad Blood. And before we get out of here for the night, um, we did watch Bad Blood live on Saturday at its special time, 3 p.m. Pacific. 6 p.m. Eastern because of MLB baseball. I believe that's why, if I'm not mistaken, the playoffs are happening. And I think that was why they had the preemption. But uh, we did preview it, so now we're gonna review it in no particular order. We had, and although this is actually the first match of the night, we had Punk defeating Drew McIntyre in what I'm assuming is the culmination of their feud, Hell in the Cell match. Do you think this is the final Drew Punk we're gonna get, or at least for a while, hopefully? Or
I would think so.
yeah, it appears Punk has turned his attention other places. So, um, well, overall, what do you think of this match? Do you think this was the bow on this feud? Are you
I think
glad the
so.
feud's over? Yeah. Did
Uh,
it give you everything you wanted?
yeah. I mean, honestly, it might have been match of the night.
That's true. I mean, that's definitely possible. I mean, I wondered after the strap match where they could go. How much higher they could go as far as the violence and all that stuff. And the cell definitely came off good. I thought they did a good job. I'm in agreement with Anika that as she mentioned during it, the cell is too big. It could be a little bit smaller. But barring that, and those are nitpicky things. No, I thought it was good, a very good match. And I'm not high on either of these guys. I mean, I'm higher on Drew than I am on Punk. I really don't like Punk, but I'm not the biggest Drew McIntyre fan either. And so, I can appreciate that this was
Oh,
a
I
really
like
good match.
Drew.
Huh?
Oh, I like
You
Drew.
love, yeah. Let's see. We had Liv Morgan defeat Rhea, which Dom in the Shark Tank ultimately came out of the Shark Tank, hung upside down, got smacked around like a pinata with a kendo stick, ultimately with the help of basically Judgment Day. Well, with the help of
No,
Judgment Day.
Judgment
Oh
Day
no,
wasn't involved.
you're right. You're right. It was Raquel Rodriguez. I apologize. The returning Raquel Rodriguez came down and helped Liv. That is correct. I forgot. And ultimately helped Liv get the win and retain her title. I'm assuming that means Rhea's gonna turn her attention to Raquel and ultimately, has to go through Raquel now to get another shot at Liv Morgan. So we've got to get her and Raquel first. What do you think about? What do you think of this? And what do you think about Raquel and Liv still having the title? Do you want Rhea versus Raquel? Does that do anything for you?
I mean, this all makes sense. Um, like Rhea's the reason Raquel was out. Like everyone's treating Rhea as the baby face, but like you've made
Right.
plenty of enemies along the way.
Yeah. I mean, she has been a heel, right? I mean, Judgment Day was a heel group, so I mean, yeah, I don't, now because she's, I guess, been betrayed by Dom and, it left Judgment Day. Now she's a face. But yeah, no, I mean, she definitely has been a heel long enough to accumulate plenty of enemies. So, um, no, I mean, I thought this worked well. I mean, I'm not the biggest Raquel Rodriguez fan, and I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what we get from Raquel and Rhea. I mean, I think Rhea's really good, and she's probably good enough to carry a match with someone that's a fair amount under her as far as levels go. But we'll have to
I
see.
mean,
I
we
mean,
had the match before when Rhea was champ.
oh, that's true. I mean, that's true, and I think it was underwhelming at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'd have to watch it again, but I think if I remember correctly, feeling underwhelmed. So we'll see what they can do now. Ultimately, Rhea's got to get that title off of Liv. So to just bring it full circle. I mean, I don't know. I guess
I mean,
Damien said that him and Rhea are done. I guess the Terror Twins are done at this point. I mean, that's basically what they said. I heard they said maybe at post, the press conference afterwards, or I don't know. Maybe he made a comment on Twitter. I'm not sure, but did you hear that? Were you aware of
no,
that?
I did not do that. No.
Yeah, I think he said that somewhere. Maybe it was on X or something. I don't remember, but um, he had said that at this point where uh, let's see.
Uh,
David Hernandez says the SIAC match. Maybe even I don't know. Was match was more entertaining than the stupid cage match with Paige and Swerve. At least nobody chewed up a needle. I mean, again, I mean, it's all relative. It's subjective and whatever you like. I mean, I, you know, I'm an AEW fan at the moment. I think that their product in general is better. That being said, I mean, comparing the two matches, wow, that's tough. I mean, I mean, for me, I don't, Hangman and Swerve is head and shoulders just in general above Punk and Drew. But if you're comparing those two matches, I mean, yeah, I mean, the needle is pretty, yeah. I mean, if you had to compare these two, what do you think? I mean, just looking at these two cage matches, as Damien here mentions. What's your opinion on
uh,
that?
personally, I'd take the AEW one, but I thought both were great.
All right. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. We had Nia Jax retaining against. Oh, I left it off there. It just says retains. I guess we all know it. Well, we don't necessarily all know, but it was against Bailey. Retained her title against Bailey. I thought she
This
looked really dominant. I mean, she,
this
basically dominated
this might have been Nia Jax's best match.
in her career ever, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. That's a spicy statement. I mean, I'd have to look back and see. I mean, the next follow-up question, of course, from you would be, well, which match would be better? And of course, I don't know off the top of my head. The only thing that comes to my head is the Al My Whole match, but obviously that probably wasn't better, and I don't even remember if that match was good. I just remember it for that actual outburst. So, I mean, she's had, over the years, and especially in the early part of her career, she had a reputation for not working, the cleanest and causing some injuries and being a little whatever in the ring. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, she was she, let's just say that she still had to grow in the wrestling side. So I mean, it could be fair to say that. Again, I'd have to sit down and look at all of them, but I mean, that could be fair to say. It was a very good match. She was extremely dominant, which I enjoyed. I mean, I think she is you know, one of, if not the biggest woman on the WWE roster, overall, and strength wise, they should, display her and book her like that. So I like to see that. I mean, in my mind, she does destroy Bailey. I mean, Bailey gets some offense, and you can't, the heart of the dog is always whatever, but Nia should be manhandling Bailey, in my opinion, and I feel like that's kind of what we got here. I feel like in correspondence with, maybe it's her best match ever, maybe it's that they're actually booking her the right way,
Hmm.
which I think makes a big difference too. So it could be a combination of both. But yeah, I enjoyed this match a lot. I thought that this one was really solid. So let's see, Roman and Cody got the win over Solo and Jacob. Jimmy returned. The Rock showed up. This was the main event segment, and a fairly big deal. Let's see, hold on real quick. Damien says Nia Jax raising like the take. Oh yeah, rising like the Taker was funny. That was probably the best spot in the match, honestly, and I definitely appreciated that when she rose up like Undertaker. We both popped at the time. Well, all of us that were watching it popped at the time. So um, let's see. So Roman and Cody, what'd you think of this whole thing? The whole ending, Jimmy back, The Rock. Where are we going? What are we getting? What's
This
next?
is leading up to Survivor Series, is it not?
I assume it has to be. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, we've got to get bloodline warfare, right? I mean, it's got to be. The question is, what is it? Is it is it Tama and Tong? Is it Tongaloa, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, and Sami Zayn, or The Rock? Which way does it go? I'm assuming it's got to be those. It feels like the
The
part of me
Rock
that
could
says
be on uh, Solo's side.
it could be there too. I mean, it could be either way. I mean, The Rock hasn't necessarily chosen a side, right? So, um, what was I going to say? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it feels like from a wrestling standpoint and just an ability standpoint, not that The Rock was ever not whatever, but he's also hasn't wrestled regularly in a long time. He's older. Sami Zayn is more in the motion, in the mood, and and whatever it is. And there could be discussion that Sami Zayn might be at the top of his wrestling career at this point. So this is the most the biggest bookings that he's ever gotten, the most he's ever been pushed. So um, it feels like Sami Zayn would be more fun. At the same time, The Rock feels more natural to be involved in this in some way. So, um, and that doesn't mean that he has to be involved as far as in the wrestling capacity. But
Hmm.
if you were booking this, what would you do? How would you book this out for Survivor Series? What would be the teams?
Mm.
Damien says the main event was cool. My only thing is we should have had the KO heel turn on the show instead of Rock showing up. Yeah, I mean, I missed the KO heel turn. We were talking about it earlier. I don't know if we didn't stay long enough. I don't know what the deal was, but, um, or if it actually took place at the beginning of the press conference or during the press conference or whatever. But yeah, I missed that. And, so I saw it on Raw and the clips later. But yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if they had made that a bigger part of the actual main event, I guess.
All right, so I think Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Sammy, and Cody.
Roman, Jimmy J, so five. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Versus The Rock, Solo, Jacob, and the twins?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Cody and Sammy. Ugh. See, now you fucked up my match by having both Roman and Cody in it. We don't need either of them. We have to have Roman, but because there's no story without Roman. But Cody, really?
Man, if you don't think Cody's going to be the main event, I don't know what you're thinking.
Oh, okay. So it was fan. Dolores says it was fan footage, not recorded. So I'm assuming she's talking about the KO attack on Cody. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll ultimately see how it plays out, but I'm imagining that at some point, we're gonna have a face off between Roman and Solo, obviously for the
We'll
lay.
learn more on Friday.
Definitely learn more on Friday. All right. So, and then even though that was technically the main event, the last match we're going to talk about a review was Damian Priest getting the win over Finn Balor. Uh, yeah, I mean that's fine. I guess we talked about this. I mean, we all want more for Finn because he's so good. At this point, honestly, I'm kind of crossing fingers and toes that maybe he decides to do something different and make a move. I know he's older. I know it's a later part of his career. Maybe probably doesn't want to do that, but and maybe heads to AEW or even back to New Japan or something, just for something different to end his career, maybe on a little bit higher note, i.e., Brian Danielson. I just don't like the way they've treated him overall and booked him overall. And even though I think we've talked about this, at least in WWE years, Damian Priest is younger than Finn Balor. He's been around less time, and if he's kind of your immediate future, and you don't see as Finn Balor in that way, then it makes sense to put Damian Priest over. It sounds weird to say Finn Balor's putting over Damian Priest because I think they're almost the same age, but I know Damian's a little younger, but
I
um,
was about to say Damien's leading this group with a bunch of young people right now, so maybe he's trying to get back. And I remember Carlito's not young.
right,
Carlito's not
yeah,
young at
no,
all.
he is not young at all. So Damian says Roman, Zilla, Usos, and Hikuleu versus Rock, Solo, Jacob, Tama, and Jacob and the twins. Interesting. So we'd have to bring
Uh,
in Hikuleu and Zilla. I mean, they'd have to come in before Survivor Series to have that, I assume. I mean, at minimum.
I can't see Ika coming in just to fight his brothers.
Who would be very interesting. I guess he could do a one off. I mean, I don't know what the relationship is between New Japan and WWE. I suppose he could do a one off, and I'm not totally sure what
Well, it's
Zilla's
not
doing
good,
at the
but I
moment.
think that I believe his contract is ending soon or already ended.
Okay, so I mean, I suppose if he's a free agent, he can come over and do whatever he wants to do or whatever. I mean, at this point, WWE has invested tons of money in that family and this bloodline story. I mean, almost everyone that's come around that can wrestle from that family in some way, shape, or form has had at least a stint in WWE. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Zilla and Hikuleu at some point, both in WWE, whether it'll be before Survivor Series in a month. That seems a little short time. Not that it couldn't happen, but
Zilla doesn't surprise me at all. I just figured Zilla would come in through NXT, not be
right.
immediately thrusted into the main roster in one. No, their biggest storyline.
Yeah, I mean, the only
Their
reason it
big,
makes sense is just because of the family connection. But I mean, if he's there, and
the Tomatonga, Tongaloa, like makes perfect sense. They're like 40. They've been everywhere. They've done everything. Fine to put
right,
them immediately on the main roster. Jacob
yeah,
Fatu is literally the best wrestler of the entire freaking family. Like, absolutely, you put him on the main roster. But Zilla, like Zilla's had what 3 matches? Like he is so new to this. Like, don't you want to
right,
like build him up and not just throw him directly to the fire?
sure, yeah. No, I mean, I would think that him and Hikuleo would probably both WWE would want to give them both a little time in NXT first. Hikuleo maybe a little less just because he has been doing it in New Japan for a while now, and this was actually I think this year was his best New Japan or G1 outing. So if for all intents and purposes he's i.e. getting better, they're booking him a little bit stronger. So um, let's see.
Yeah, I think
Dolores
Hikuleu would be fine.
Dolores says Zilla's actually had many matches. I assume that they're all on the independent, and I don't know exactly how many he has had, but I'll take her word for it since she watches independent wrestling a lot more
She
than I
thinks
do.
that he's main roster ready, that he's ready to
Well,
goes
she didn't say
ready to
that.
run
She
the
just said he's had
SmackDown.
many matches. She
No.
didn't say he was main roster ready. She just said that
Um,
he has had many matches.
well, I was being hyperbolic when I said three. I I
uh,
said that because like his family members have like been everywhere.
let's see. He is champ now, and I think yes, she thinks he's ready for the main roster. So,
Mm.
I mean,
If
I
she
don't
thinks
know that
so,
much
then
about him.
I trust Dolores' opinion. If she thinks
I was
so,
just gonna
then
say,
I'm
yeah.
on
I mean,
board.
I don't know that much. I mean, I know him, but I haven't watched enough to make my own opinion. So I'll take her opinion. She knows a lot more about that stuff than I do. So, and she watches a ton of independent wrestling. Um, so yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, anything on Damien and Finn anymore? What do you think about
Mm.
what happens now for Damien? Where does he turn his sights to if this is the end of his deal with Finn Balor and the Judgment Day, and Terror Twins are actually going to go separate ways? Where does he?
I have no idea because I did not expect him to lose.
Me either.
Like I was thinking he was going to be challenging Gunther, but he lost. So there's no world I see in which he should be challenging Gunther.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Damian Priest. I apologize. I wasn't clear about that. I
Oh,
meant Damian Priest, not Finn. I guess did I
also
say Finn?
I don't really know. I guess challenging Jey Uso.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is what is his lane? I mean, with Judgment Day, he was obviously at the top of the food chain, and I think he is to a certain extent. I mean, the talent pool isn't enormously deep in WWE, so I mean, I think he benefits a little from that at the moment. And that's not taking anything away from him. I just wonder, should he be competing for the world championships at this point on a regular basis, or is he more a really solid top of the tier mid card guy? I mean, I don't know where you ultimately see Damian Priest.
I would assume that
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the end of that was the last match of Bad Blood. Overall, give it a rating, either out of 5 horsies for workhorse wrestling, or give it a letter grade. Uh,
I'll give it a 4 horses.
4 horsies. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that was terrible on this. There were things that didn't go the way I wanted them to go. I was disappointed in Liv retaining. I'm not necessarily. I understand the connection with Raquel. I'm not necessarily huge on that. That comeback in her interjection, but it is what it is. I was extremely happy with Nia winning. I thought they made her look really good. Roman and Cody, I don't like them, so obviously by default I would have rather had Jacob and Solo win. But I already had resigned myself to the fact that Cody and Roman were going to win. They're not going to lose. So, and I was disappointed with
Mhm.
Damian and Finn overall. So, I mean, this is tough. I mean, I would say somewhere between 3.5 to 4 horses is right. I mean, I don't. Let's see. Dolores says Zilla had 32 matches this year and his HOG Crown Jewel, House of Glory Crown Jewel champ. Plus, he teamed up with Jacob most of the year. So, I mean,
Mhm.
that's a solid year.
Um,
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I'd have to watch, the matches, but I mean, again, we take Dolores' word for it. She's our resident, independent wrestling expert. So, for lack of a better way to classify it. So, yeah, no, I mean, I would say 3.5 to 4. I mean, there wasn't anything that was egregiously bad. Um, at the
So
same time,
I'm
there,
assuming Zilla would be debuting in Saudi Arabia then.
I mean, if we really think it's going to happen before, I mean, that was Damien's. That I didn't get the. I mean, I don't know, Dolores. Do you really think that Zilla's going to be in Survivor
Survivor
Series?
Series.
That was Damien's suggestion or idea, maybe fantasy booking. I don't know how you want to refer to it, but um, That wasn't Dolores that suggested that. So I'm curious to know what if Dolores thinks that Zilla would be here in a month. I mean, that's not that far off, or he would have to come now. So uh, basically, to have a chance to actually get to know him and warm him up and all those kind of things. I mean, obviously, the name kind of precedes him because people know who he is already, as well as Hikuleo. If you're wrestling fans, beyond WWE, you know who these guys are already. And even if you're just WWE fans, because WWE ultimately kind of hints around about that stuff enough. And if you pay attention to the, stuff behind the scenes, they talk about both these guys as being members of the family and obviously being on the WWE radar for guys they want to sign and those kind of things. So, um, no, I mean, yeah, man, 4 feels high, but 3.5 feels a little low because there wasn't anything egregious or bad. It was a tight 5
Mhm.
matches. It was a solid, I mean, there wasn't the only thing that was super egregious was the entrance times for both for the main event match, but that's, it's Roman and Cody. So, let's see. No, because he is current champ. Plus, he's had issues with GCW with pay. Plus, his issues with Booker. He needs to cool off before he comes. So Dolores doesn't think he would be here by Survivor Series. So chances are good we probably won't see him by Survivor Series. But I would imagine at some point, if and when he's ready and everything's good to go, WWE obviously is going to have interest. I think they've already had interest, so why wouldn't they down the road again? So, anything else you want to say about Bubba? I'm going to go with 3.75 because 3.5 feels a little low, 4 feels a little high. I'm going to split them in half and go 3.75. 3 3/4 of a horse, 3 full horses and 3/4 of another horse. I can't decide if it's the front or the back of the horse that we're leaving off, but we'll call it a Godfather style, and then we'll talk about the front of the horse being non not there, removed. How's that? That's a quarter that's been removed. The horse's head. Um, anything
I
else you want to
mean,
say?
4 horses is a B, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
or
I
an
think
A minus.
yeah. I mean, I think it's an A minus probably. I
Yeah.
mean, is 5 an A or 5 an A plus? I mean, 5 is a solid A, then 4 is
Yeah.
an A minus B plus right there somewhere in that territory. So
hmm I think I'm pretty accurate in giving it 4. B plus A
yeah,
minus. I think it's somewhere around there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm right around there too. I mean, solid B, solid B could be a B plus. So that's why I went. 3.75 feels like a B
Yeah.
plus roughly to me. So, um,
Well, look at
all
that.
right,
I'm rating a WWE pay-per-view higher than you.
that's right.
And the
Look
world
at
must
that.
be ending.
Must be ending. Let's reaffirm to the fans the world is not ending as best we know it. But on that note, this episode of the Cookout is ending. So you like that segue? See how I worked that in there?
Yep.
Uh,
Perfect.
all right, so let's get to some
Poetry
house
in
cleaning.
motion.
Let's get to some housekeeping. Scan that QR code, a little horsey in the middle there that Dolores created. Thank you for creating that. That will take you to Linktree, which will from Linktree you can see everywhere we're on social media wise, and you can get to all of our social media from one place, from the one place, Linktree. So again, scan that QR code. If you're new to this YouTube channel, please subscribe. Hit the like button on this video. It helps a lot. Hit the bell on the YouTube channel. That will make sure that you're notified every time we're about to put something out on the channel, whether it's live or pre recorded. Um, we are here every Sunday as best we can amongst life for Enter the Square Circle, where it's myself and Sammy Joe playing WWE 2K22, 24. I apologize. We are in the middle of the tap or snap submission only tournament to name a number one contender or to give them, I'm sorry, they get a title opportunity. They get to choose the title they want to um, challenge for with this win. It gives them for lack of a better term, a money in the bank opportunity style opportunity. Um, That's usually every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Then we're here on Tuesday nights, which are with us here now for the Cookout Live, where usually we all come together, talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. Right now, we're in the middle of watching the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix, and we will be doing that for the night. I think there's 6 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. So this was episode 2 tonight. So we've got, I think, 4 more to watch. So make sure and join us next week for the 3rd episode. And always join us for the Cookout. That's live 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Then we're back on Friday nights for Friday Night Fights, where Sammy Joe and Anika watch SmackDown and Rampage live, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, with SmackDown running through the end of Rampage, and they will give you their live results, opinions, and reactions to the shows as they watch them. Then we're here on Saturday morning live for the Winner's Circles, myself, Sammy Joe, and Anika, where we review Monday Night Raw, NXT, and Dynamite. And then we grade them each and pick our favorite show of the week and declare it basically the winner of the week, i.e., Winner's Circle. Then we're here Saturday night for our Saturday night watch alongs, where we watch Saturday Night is All Right. We watch Collision live from 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and give you our real time reactions and opinions to Collision as it happens. I think that's basically it. There are a couple more graphics here. There's a couple retro watch alongs on the YouTube channel. You can go and check them out. We've watched some old matches a couple of times, so make sure and go check those out. Also, the Cookout. You can catch the Cookout, the audio version of the Cookout, on all of these platforms: Spotify, YouTube Audio, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. I think Dolores might have said there's no more Google Podcasts, but I could be wrong. But either way, there's plenty of other options. So if you don't have time to sit and watch us, you can always just listen to it. So I think that's basically all of them. I want to make sure I get them all, but we got one more comment. Let's see. Dolores says, next week we'll be starting a new platform, so please be patient with us. Yes, next week's Cookout will be on Restream, I believe, as of this moment. So this should be the last week on StreamYard. So as Dolores said, please bear with us as we get our feet underneath us on the new platform. Again, thank you to, I believe it's 199 current subscribers. I'd love to get that one more to get to 200, and then obviously, to the moon from there. So, unless there's anything else, Sammy, we'll
Mm-mm.
get out of here. All right. Peace.